Hey guys, I am going to show you a little bit about social pushes and how we're going to use them for this class. And it all starts with learning about where social pushes came from and how that comes into play and why they're so important. So this won't be a very long video, but I do think it's important that you guys take time to understand where this is coming from. And with their limited time in class, I figured doing this offline would be easiest. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right in. I want to start by taking a quick look at the Times-Picayune. The Times-Picayune is the oldest and largest newspaper in New Orleans. In 2012, it decided it needed to restructure the newsroom. They needed to change workflows and change their approach to storytelling, specifically when it came to Facebook. And now, because they've done that, they are the largest media company in Louisiana. So, this is how they used to do news. And this is how a lot of newsrooms, unfortunately, still do news. And just every once in a while, you get like a few reporters that actually understand it and are changing this old way of doing news. It used to be that your focus and your energy and all of your stuff was saved for the newspaper. That was your first thought. Then you would think about web, and then you would think about social media. Now, with the way we operate and consume news, that has to change. So now we actually need to start with social media because that's what we have in our hands. Then you can post stuff on the web and craft articles for the web. But the best stuff is going to be saved from that day, from everything you posted on social media and the web. Only the best stuff is going to make it into the final product, which is the newspaper the next day or later that evening. For our purposes, it would be the newscast. So let's dive in a little bit deeper to this. Let's look at how they went from Facebook to print, how they went from social media to web to print. On the morning of February 7th in 2017, a tornado ripped through New Orleans. And by the end of the day, with this thought process and this way of distributing news, the Times-Picayune had 56,000 interactions, 4 million page views, and 3.3 million video views on Facebook. Here's a quick example of what they did. So I'm going to turn the volume down. Oops, just a little bit so that you can hear me. What the reporters did was they were dispatched to scenes of damage, right? Because when a tornado is happening, you only want professionals out chasing a tornado, and you may or may not actually find the tornado and get video of it. But if the tornado's right in front of your house and you're recording video and you're a regular citizen, well then sure, grab video, right? If it's safe to do so. And people do that. So the reporters were dispatched to scenes of the damage. Meanwhile, newsroom people were gathering UGC, what we call user-generated content. That's video or photos or any kind of type of media that comes from the public who's not involved with your news organization. So they would gather the UGC from NOLA residents and then share videos to the Times-Picayune Facebook page, like this one that we just saw of the tornado. So they would put that up on the Times-Picayune Facebook page. And then you would get reporting on reporters who are at the damage, at the scenes of damage. And they would report on what they're seeing on Facebook Live. So that immediately when they would get there, they'd jump on Facebook Live and do some reporting, just really raw and, not the prettiest or the cleanest, but that's okay. And then a freelancer actually recorded some aerial footage using a drone and then shared it with NOLA.com. So again, more UGC. So you have Facebook Live and you've got video going up on the web too. Photographers started to post their own little videos and photos to Facebook and Instagram all day long. And so what web editors did was they took some of those photos and the videos from their photographers and then created a short video as a social push to what they're covering. And it's what to do in the aftermath of a tornado. It's actually a really genius way of promoting your station, of promoting your news organization and the content that you're producing. So let's take a look at how they did that. Okay, so again, all they did was take a bunch of photos that photographers and reporters posted on their social media pages all day long and then put a really cool little thing together. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, how to do a readable video in just a second. So when it came time to bring the reporters back and start writing and publishing their stories and updates, they worked on NOLA.com on the website first, and then they would get back on social media and share all the links to the articles that they had written. And then finally, only the strongest elements of the stories that they covered on social media actually make it to the front page of the print newspaper. So, how did they make this happen? Everybody was involved. Reporters, social and web, photographers, editors, people in the newsroom, readers. They had a really diverse team of veteran and young journalists with different skill sets. They created content directly for social media, and they tailored a work stream for their reporters and other people in the newsroom that really worked for them. So in times of breaking news, which we'll run into throughout the semester, this is a great way to do this. We can send a couple of people out to cover a scene and then have people in the newsroom actually pulling in UGCs and helping create these cool little social videos and pushes. So this is what's exciting to me about, new journalism and how we're finding different ways to actually tell the news and share it. So how are we going to accomplish this? We're going to try to apply the same method to the newscast in our everyday reporting that's not necessarily breaking news. Social goes first, then the web, and then the newscast. Now, of course, I've structured it differently. On Wednesdays, I want your social media pushes posted. And then I want the newscast, and then we're going to record the newscast and post it later that night. And then your web article along with your video can go up the next day on Thursday. The reason that I've staggered it and kind of flipped it is because you guys have a lot going on. You have a lot going on with other classes, with your social lives, and sometimes it can be hard to get all of this done in one day. When you're a professional reporter, you're going to have all day long to get all of it done, and you can do it in a day. But for you guys, I know you have a lot on your plate, so I tried to stagger things out as best as I possibly could in a way that made sense. So your mission for this class is going to be to create a social post or a push, at least one, for every story that you're working on that promotes your story. So I really only want you guys to do these for packages and VOSATs. If it's a VO that you're turning that week, you don't really need to do a social push because there's not going to be a whole lot to it. I want you to use photos or videos. It can be B-roll or a brief shot or even a selfie video. I'll show an example of that here in just a minute. You can also record your process of how, kind of a behind the scenes of how you're gathering info or how you're recording stuff or you're on your way to an interview with so-and-so. And then what you're going to do is post these on Instagram or Twitter with a thought out caption. Use the right hashtags like TCU News Now, and then tag me so that I can see it. You can also do an Instagram story if you like. I'm going to show you guys some examples of that here in just a second. But I want you to make sure that if you're doing Instagram stories and tagging me, that you put these into a highlight for yourself on your social media page. The reason is I usually, or screenshot it and text it to me, because what happens is I usually don't grade your stuff until like Friday or Saturdays. And if you post on Wednesdays, because that's the deadline, then I'm probably not going to see it if you didn't put it into a highlight and archive it. So here's a quick example. Let's peep some examples really quickly of how we can best do some social pushes. I'm on my Instagram, and some of you guys might remember Carolina Olivares. She graduated in December of last semester. And I want to show you some of the stuff that she's done, because she was really great when it came to social pushes, and she understood the importance, which is why she's now working in Houston, which is market, I don't know, like 10 or 11 or something like that, unheard of. And she is reporting on TV and doing web stuff as well. So she really understood how important this kind of stuff was. So I'm going to show you just some examples that she did in her highlights. So here's one of getting your booster shots at the health center. That was the Kavanaugh hearings. That's a cute one on her reporting when she went to DC for a capstone class. Here's another one while she was actually reporting at the opening or the accreditation of the TCU's new medical school. There's this guy who is an ROTC incoming commander who's also on the cheer squad, and she wrote this article. So she shared some photos. Okay, here's another one on a story that she was going to go cover of the Tarrant Area Food Bank. Here's one that we sent her to in breaking news. Of course, Mouty flooded as per usual when a pipe breaks. So this was maybe like 3 hours before the newscast, and she ran downstairs. I told her, Carolina, go cover it. She ran downstairs and put this out on social media. And then the newscast, we wrote something up in the newscast after that. But it was all about getting this up on social media first. Here's her producing a newscast, behind the scenes. Here's one coming soon. Be on the lookout for the story behind this TCU students' inspiration to create a sports app that's never been done before.
So while most of you guys right now at around 10:30 are at home doing homework, getting ready for classes tomorrow, the TCU men's ice hockey team is actually practicing right here in this building, and they're putting in work. They are putting in work, and right now they're actually asking for donations so that they can buy the proper uniforms that are in compliance with the rules.
So what she did was she just did a quick selfie video on Instagram stories, and as she was walking with all of the equipment and all her gear to the arena so that she could go and cover the story. The story wasn't for, she wasn't going to turn it the next day. It was for the following week. So then while she was recording B-roll inside, she also took a moment to just take out her phone, snap a picture of one of the players during practice, and then created this social push as well. Details on how the men's ice hockey program developed and what could hold them back from returning for another season. Tune in next week. And she tagged TCU 360, and she didn't tag me, but I remember her sending me all this stuff to ask me if this was okay. So she really did, these are her daily updates, she really did a great job with her social media pushes. Here's another one. You'll see less furry friends on campus thanks to a new TCU policy. Story link in bio. Here's another one of her anchoring. So she really, here's another one for that Book It Sports app. Here's another one of her interviewing a pro frog, a former TCU baseball player. So this is the kind of stuff I want you guys to do, is really push to the content that you're covering. I think you get the idea now. All right, so let me exit out of here. One other thing I want to show you guys, you probably have seen Adobe Spark posts. I think you've used those probably with Jean in the reporting class. If you haven't, I'll show you how to do that. I have a tutorial up on D2L that you can check out for how to do Adobe Spark posts. But I also want to show you how to do a readable video. Here's a quick example of something that I put together on Steven Crowder when he came to campus a couple of years ago. And you can do this too. It's with Adobe Spark Video. I have a tutorial as well. You do the whole thing on your cell phone. You can do it on your computer as well, but it works on your cell phone just as well. So let's take a quick look at what I put together. It's not the best, but you get the idea. It's so that you can get the idea.
College campuses are designed to exchange thoughts that we may agree with and thoughts that we may not agree with.
I think open conversation is healthy and that open dialogue is a good thing.
Steven Crowder's presence here is harmful to students that are facing sexual assault and sexual harassment and have faced that in the past.
I would just like to remind everyone out there that is watching this, if you are a survivor, we are here for you, and we are here to work for you and do whatever we can to help you.
Okay, and that's it. That's all there is to it. It's just a quick little social video that you can post out there and tell people to look for the full story on tcu360.com or check out the newscast. So it's just another way of doing a social push. Again, it doesn't have to be something this grand. It can be just a photo with some text on it or something as simple as Instagram stories. But I want you guys to have as many tools at your disposal as possible. There are some other programs that I like, but they cost money, and these are the free ones that you have as a TCU student. So I think you should take advantage of those first. If you want other options, let me know, and I can sit with you and give you some of those options and show you how to use them. But for now, you guys have at least 3 or 4 different ones that are easy for you. Now, TikTok, if you want to make a TikTok, just make sure that you get it approved by me first before you go out and do something on TikTok and assume that is acceptable. So please just check with me before you do TikTok. All right, that's all I have. Go forth and do wonderful social pushes for this class.